Hi, welcome to Todd's Tips. I'm Todd Barsness, a full-time voiceover talent, and Todd's Tips is a feature of VO Marketing Pro. Now, if you'd like more information about VO Marketing Pro or anything else related to voiceover, just visit our Facebook page, website, or contact us via email. The links are located here.
Hey, and welcome into the studio. That's my dad, Todd Barsness, across from me. I'm Hudson Barsness, and we are both full-time voiceover actors. My dad's been full-time for 14 years, and I have just started my 4th year in April. So 3 complete years, and starting out the 4th, like I said. We talk about our numbers and all sorts of things. This video right here is our Todd's Tips. So what we'll do is give Dad the floor because he's the expert in some things. The last 8 years have been over 6 figures. The last 7 have been over $200,000, and the last 4 have been over $300,000 in voiceover alone. I always say that because we think it's important to talk about numbers, because we're in front of a camera, we're in front of microphones, and we're giving out advice to people. So that advice should mean something, and there should be some sort of standard that we're held to. I last year made $45,000 in voiceover. This year I'm on pace. I just checked my numbers, $75,000. My goal is 80, so I gotta pick that up a little bit. Anyway, not to get off on our numbers, we'll do that later. But right now we'll do Todd's Tips.
So these are called Todd's Tips, and if you've been watching these for a while, you know that we've also been really doing more of a Todd's Do's and Don'ts underneath the umbrella of Todd's Tips. Well, here we are going on another rabbit, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Chasing rabbits down the rabbit hole. But hopefully it'll be beneficial. I think it will be. Because what I want to talk to you about for last week and then for the next 7 weeks are just my 7 building blocks of VO success. As Hudson said, this is my 14th year. I've had good success in running business the way I have, and these are the building blocks that help me to move in that direction. I didn't plan on having them be this way. They really just start out with some basic principles, life principles, business principles. And this is how I live my life, and this is how I run my life and my business. And so hopefully these will help you. Just as a reminder, there are 7 building blocks. On the bottom is, and that's the one we're going to talk about today, who I listen to. That is the most important foundational thing that you need to think about and decide. The second thing is mindsets. That's the second most important thing in my building blocks of success. Third is then a business mindset, which is really the most important mindset that we can have. A business mindset sits right on top of the mindsets. Then processes, having a simple business plan that works and working that business plan like crazy. Then marketing. You got to market to stay in business. And so marketing is very important. Then we go to audio. What kind of audio do you have? Is your room right? Is the noise floor correct? Do you have the right equipment? Is it professional? And then finally, the performance side. That is completely flipped around from what you hear in the industry these days. And again, this is logical, not chronological. You can be doing multiple things at once, but you better get these things in order, otherwise you'll find yourself out of business. And so today I want to talk with you about that bottom one, which is who I listen to. That's the most important one, and so I'm going to spend the most time on it. So this is going to be a little bit of an extended one, but I'm going to try to stay on track by reading from the book that I'm writing. I haven't written it yet. I'm in the process of writing. Mm-hmm. And these are some excerpts from the first chapter, which is who I listen to. So everyone, without exception, must decide who they're going to listen to. Think about your life. Whether good, sound advice and counsel or poor, unwise advice or counsel, following that person's advice has shaped, at least in part, your life. So be very careful who you listen to, because deciding to follow someone's advice can indeed change the course of your life. Now, this can be a little tricky in life, but especially in voiceover. Why? Well, come on, let's be honest. Voice actors are paid to pretend. That's what we're paid to do. And in fact, the better you are at pretending, the more famous you become and the more money you make. The VO industry is filled with actors who play parts. And one of the biggest parts they play regularly is as VO coaches. So many VO actors very quickly hang their shingles out as experts, touting that they can help you start, grow, and maintain a successful VO business. All the while, they themselves have only been doing voiceover for a couple of years. Then there are the longtime coaches who've been in the industry for many, many years, and maybe even decades. They perhaps had successful VO careers as actors, but it's been a long time since they earned good money as actors rather than coaches. And so there's a good chance that they are out of touch with the industry, despite their strong opinions. Maybe some of these coaches have pure motives. They just want to help people. But they are more than willing to coax you into giving them your attention, your energy, your money, and especially your career path. I don't like this about our industry, the industry that I'm a part of. For years, I've been calling on VO talent and VO coaches or VO talent to vet their VO coaches by requiring them to provide their students with exactly how much money they make in voiceover alone. Now, not 5 years ago, not in voiceover plus coaching, book sales, demo production, YouTube video income. No, just VO income alone. And here are a few other vetting questions I'd ask. How many years were you a full-time VO talent before you started to coach? Did you ever make over 6 figures in voiceover? If so, how long and for how many years in a row? And lastly, can you provide me with students of yours who would attest to the fact that you played a critical role in them making 6 figures for multiple years in a row? Why do I get defensiveness or silence from folks in the industry when I simply ask VO coaches to tell us how much money they make in VO alone? I mean, the very definition of business is to turn a profit. The more money a business makes, the more successful it is. And the more years a business makes a lot of money, the more a business becomes the standard by which other businesses run their business. Simple. This is just simple common sense that everyone knows and understands. It's simple business math. Lots of voiceover money plus many years doing that equals VO success. Nice and simple. Or the opposite is true. Not much voiceover money plus many years, not successful as a VO talent. That should be our vetting standard. So I'm winding down here. So many of these pretend VO expert coaches have slick marketing techniques, but they really are pro content creators and pro sales pitch artists. Again, I'm not accusing anyone of ill motives. They're just business people turning a profit, but at whose expense? Now, by now, you should be asking, so Todd, who died and put you in charge? The answer is no one. I'm a tiny fish in a huge pond. Very few people listen to me. I don't get invited to speak at VO conferences or be guests on podcasts. And with videos like this, I'll probably get uninvited, even if I was on the list. To date, I'm in my 14th year of being a full-time VO talent. And to date, I've not conducted a single one-on-one solitary paid coaching session. Instead, I've spent all those years building a well-established VO business, all with a single purpose of making as much money as I could make. It's only been the last 3 or 4 years that I've been watching, listening to, and observing the industry and its leaders and coaches to see why so many VO artists are flailing and failing. And I think I'm getting my finger on the pulse. Besides, I want to be vetted myself. And if I'm found wanting, then don't listen to me. That's just how simple it is. So who you listen to is the foundation. I could say so much more, and I have said a lot more in my 2 minutes of VO Tough Love episodes. I put those out every Tuesdays and Thursdays, and right now, I think, if you look around, there's probably 25 of them out already, and there's 100 more that are produced right now.
Yeah, those are on our VO Marketing Pro Facebook page, so if you want to check that out, you can. I just was going to go just a little bit further on that. I try to be careful how much I give out advice to people. I get asked by people what I'm doing and stuff like that. And I don't want to make that sound like a lot of people are coming to me, because I think that's a big thing. I was just listening to another podcast, and I'm not going to call anybody out or anything like that, but I hear people, and you've clued me into this. I'll just say this before I go on to that. I haven't proven to myself or to the industry yet that I've made enough money to give out advice. And I'm holding myself to that standard. Not until I make at least 6 figures am I going to sit here and say, well, this is what you should do and that's what you should do. But just observing people in the industry, I was listening to a podcast, and this guy was talking about how he had to get a full-time job again because his voiceover income wasn't going that well. So he was searching. And then a couple months in a row, he had better success. But he's still going back and getting his job, and people are listening to his advice. And I don't feel bad, because everybody has a decision to make. Mm-hmm. But I hear the type of path that he's going down, and the path he's going down has him going from trying to be full-time to now having to get a full-time job. And everybody's situation is different, but he's still telling people how they should run their business. And there's not success there, not real success. And for me, that doesn't make sense. And that's why I try to be careful that's just an observation. It's not, you shouldn't do that or you should do this. I just hold that in high regard, that people are watching you, and you should be careful about what you're putting out there and saying, this is the path you need to take, but you're not successful in it. So that's what I'm trying to do, is prove that I'm going to be successful the way that you've done things and other people have done it, before I make any comments on how people should run their businesses, because I think that's a huge deal. So many people out there are telling people how they should run their businesses, and they're not doing that well. They sound like they're doing really well, but they're not. And I get kind of tired of that. So I'm a chip off the old blockhead. I won't say much more.
It's one of the reasons that 2 years ago I agreed to this, getting in front of the camera and microphone, when Hudson came to me and said, let's chronicle your journey, mm-hmm. Hudson's journey, and my journey. And for the last couple of years, we've been doing that. And one of the reasons we did that was because we wanted to be right up in front, transparent, not only with our numbers, but being able to say, is how I do business at $300,000 a year the last 4 years or over, is that something that you can replicate? Or is it just unique to me? Am I just a special, kind of anomaly? And I don't think I am. And so we're doing that with Hudson and working with him. And that's why we're telling you his numbers week in and week out. And that's why we do these Todd's tips together and so mm-hmm. on and so forth. So we're not down on anybody. No, It's just not. It's just that our industry is full of voiceover actors, and we're all pretenders. And how you're going to cut through all of this acting? Well, you're going to cut through it with those questions. How much do you make in voiceover alone?
All right. Thank you for joining us. If you're new to this channel, we appreciate you stopping by. If you want to see more videos like that, we have them in our Todd's Tips playlist. We also have our numbers playlist. Feel free to snoop around a little bit and check those out if you're interested in more. Next up, we'll have John from VO Marketing Pro here, and we'll talk about how the group that they market for voiceover talents like my dad and I, how their week went, how my week went, how Dad's week went. So hope to see you there. Have a good week.
Thanks a lot for joining me for Todd's Tips. And if you'd like more information about VO Marketing Pro or anything else related to VO, the links are listed here.